Okay, good. All right. Hi, I'm Bebe. Welcome to our Soul Spa Summit. It's art, meditation, and movement to nurture the soul and inspire joy. And with me today, I have the wonderful Heidi Easley. Heidi is a joyful, wonderful, honest, beautiful human being
Oh,
who,
thanks.
who does wonderful art. She had described, way back when she lost everything and she was very innovative and learned how to paint these surfboards and brought in thousands of dollars. And so she does art not just because it's joyful and brings her alive, um, but because she's also able to inspire others through her process. And she does these painting parties, which are super fun. And, I think the painting parties is such a great idea, Heidi, because it really, people need fun and they need to get together and kind of gather. And so it meets a huge need. And she also teaches other people how they can have these parties and teach others to paint and have a good time as they do it. So do you want to tell us anything else that I missed, Heidi?
Um, oh, I love to paint people as sugar skulls. That's like my favorite thing. So yeah, in addition to the painting parties and teaching people how to do painting parties, I love taking people's families and kind of taking their characteristics and their like whatever's going on in their life at that time and then turning it into these self-portraits. It's pretty fun.
Looks fun. So, what we're going to do, so it's all about healing, and I know you have some really playful, fun, relaxing background techniques that you're going to teach us today. But just out of curiosity, for you personally, like when you feel hijacked by life, as we all do, because we live in a world that's very distracting, but when you get hijacked by life, what is it that brings you back to your center, either creatively or spiritually?
I think one of my favorite things to do is anytime I start to feel like uninspired or I'm not really sure, what I'm going to create next, or maybe I've just been overloaded with, a lot of things I've had to do for my art business. And I'll grab my daughter and we'll go to Barnes and Nobles. And it's so relaxing. Like we get our coffee, she gets a dessert, and then we have the same routine every time, and she's 9 years old. So we've been doing this for years. So she knows exactly what we're doing every time. And I go straight to the art section of the magazines and I grab like probably 20. I'm not going to lie. I put them back, but I do grab probably around 15 to 20. And I just grab anything that speaks to me. And then I go to the kids section, and they always have those cute little kid tables. And then Pixie, she'll go and grab all of her arts, all her books and things she's interested in. And then we meet back at the table, and we have our coffee, and she has her little snack. And then we just spend like 2 hours, and I'm just going through all the magazines, and she's in a little seat reading all the books. And it's just like, I don't know, it's just been this tradition we've done for years now. And I can tell you every single time I do it, it's like I rush home and I'm ready to create again. It's so cool.
It is. It's a great way to refuel yourself because you get exposed to all these ideas and you see all these wonderful things. And then you get re-inspired. I know I went with my friend the other day. The art festival was the same thing. We were both like, we have to go home and paint afterwards.
How fast can we get home?
Yeah.
I know, and I think it's good, too, to teach my daughter, too, that it's, everything is, on electronics these days. And I think it's good to show her that you can go back to a normal book and, you can re-inspire yourself. And I think so many people in this life, we get in like a funk and then we're not sure how to get out of it. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of stay there and we stay stuck. And then we start these habits that just start, one bad day leads to 2 bad days, leads to a week of bad days. Now it's a month. Now all of a sudden I'm depressed. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about spreading how art heals, is because you can get yourself out of that funk. Yes, there are bad days. Yes, there's going to be days when you're like, oh, I just want to crawl back in bed and reboot, Mm-hmm. But I think it's so, so important that you learn how to get yourself out of that. And that's what I'm trying to teach my daughter, by showing her, okay, mommy's in a funk. I need to get out of this. How can I do that? And, this is one way. This is a tool. Or going to the park for a walk, or getting out, just getting outside with nature is always good for me. if I'm inside too much. And being an artist, it's kind of a paradox there, because, we are inside with our art studio and painting most of the time. And so I think, just knowing, okay, I got to get out. I need the sunshine. I need, I think that is so, so important to do. So that's what I'm trying to do by doing that, showing a good example for her, but also getting me re-inspired.
Yeah, of healthy ways to resolve that. And it sounds like it's reminding me of Julia Cameron, The Artist Way, to take yourself on an artist date whenever you get in a funk, and so it sounds like that you're just treating yourself to some coffee, flipping through some magazines, and she gets to enjoy the whole date as well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and then nature also is a big healer. And what about your own art? What is it that heals you about your artistic process? Like, what do you find very healing about your art?
I think painting, I had drawn for years, and then I discovered painting probably around 14. I just had this, I was like, Mom, can I paint my wall in my room? And she was like, sure, I don't care. And I was like, I can put anything I want on it? Like anything? She goes, yeah, I don't care. And it just opened up this world to me. Like, oh my gosh, I can paint whatever I wanted. And I was self-teaching, so I remember painting like this giant Simba because I was obsessed with The Lion King. And I painted this giant Simba, and it was like all out of proportion. Like Simba was taking over the whole jungle. He was so big, and he was like
the dream or Simba.
Oh my gosh, he was huge. And I remember, I mixed the wrong colors, and it was like, he was totally the wrong colors. I took months trying to fix that. I think I repainted him 4 times trying to get the right color, and I just fell in love with this thought of painting and color and, big. I fell in love with painting big, and I always wanted to paint on walls. And anytime anybody would let me, paint their walls or do a mural in a nursery, that's what I wanted to do. And so I spent, years, my high school was like painting on walls and painting on gymnasiums and anything. And it took me forever to do anything. It just took, I was learning, I was trying to figure it out. And I think through those years, it just brought this love of art for me. And now, I will draw now. I still draw sometimes. And even on my smaller things that I do, I'll kind of sketch it a little bit. But there's nothing like just going straight to the paint, and just going for it. It's my favorite thing. And I just feel like healing. Like, everything can be bad in the world, but if I have a paintbrush in my hand, the world is gone, and it's just me and the paint. So. Yeah.
And what do you do when you get frustrated? You say, whoa, my gosh, that looked like it just moved out of nowhere.
What happened?
That's crazy. I was like, I don't even know what made that move. You have an animal
Frida
back there.
Huh? Frida's talking to us. She likes to.
It looked like she just went like this and just bounced in the air. That's Frida's keep painting, girl. That is crazy.
It's hilarious.
And so before we go on to your demo technique, a lot of people who are using art to heal themselves, they find the one place they get stuck is they get frustrated if it's not good enough, or they're really hard on themselves and they find their inner critic come up. What do you do with your inner critic when it comes up?
You have to manage it. And I think, like I was talking about before, it's not something that you just manage when it comes up. I think you have to, proactively always be on top of that. I think it's so important that people, take control of their mental health and their physical health and their spiritual health. And it's almost like, when you're getting an oil change, you don't wait till your engine blows up before you do that. You have to continually keep that maintenance going. And I remember in 2007 when my family lost everything, for about 2 months, I was stuck. I was in a dark place. I didn't know where to go. I felt like such a huge failure. I felt like everybody is going to judge me. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I did this. Because at that time, I felt like I was the only person in the world that had ever filed bankruptcy. That's how I felt. I'm not even 30, and here I have done an epic fail. and lost everything. I'm switching cars and trying to tell my friends that, oh, I just wanted to change cars, Instead, my car's being repoed, and just this like sense of, oh my gosh, I will never recover from this. And it took 2 months of just kind of sitting in it and being, paralyzed with this fear of, will I ever make it again? And then I used art to heal, and I started painting the surfboards, and I actually started painting surfboards to kind of just decorate. I thought, oh, this will be fun, a little project I can do, and just to get my mind off of it. And I took it to school one day to work on it during lunch. I'm a school teacher. I still teach part-time, but I was teaching full-time, and I had 850 students a week come through my room. And so about 150 kids a day would come through my room. Wow. And so as each group of 30 would come through, they would like comment about these surfboards, and about the, 100th kid that said, Miss Easley, make me a surfboard. Oh my gosh, I got to have one. Light bulb went off, and I thought, I think I can make some money off of this,
It sounds lucrative.
This sounds really lucrative. And so I think, you got to find a way to not be stuck. You have to, because, if I wouldn't have tried to get out there and, okay, yes, I failed. I sucked. That is awful. But I got to pick myself back up. This isn't the end of my life, And I picked myself back up. And not only, I think God was showing me, okay, yes, this failure happened, but look what I can do with this failure. And giving me the confidence of selling, over 1,000 surfboards in just 2 months, and teaching me how to paint fast, and just that confidence of I can always change my situation for the better. I will always take action. And I think people need to, yes, you're stuck. Yes, sometimes life sucks, but get up and just take action. Those little steps are going to lead you to something bigger. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just a lot of faith, and taking action is the biggest thing.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, the inner critic comes up, but don't let it stop you. That's the key. Like, it's going to come up, and you're going to hear those voices like, oh my God, whether it's in life or in art, but just to keep going and don't let it stop you, and then, you never know when you're right, on the doorstep of your next big breakthrough like that. If you just keep going and choose not to stop and give up,
right.
Give in to that, oh my God, woe is me. Life is awful. What have I done? So that's good. So let's jump into the demo. So you were going to show everybody. We have some artists. I know we have some people who may want to be doing it as a hobby, or, so you're about to teach us some background play that people can use in many ways. So you can kind of share with us.
Yeah. Okay. So as we talked about earlier, I teach it sometimes, but mainly I do these as commissions. I do Day of the Dead self-portraits and pets and stuff like that. And so I kind of started, developing a process, and you can see my family over my shoulder. But what I do before I even start any of the skeletons or any of the people on it or any of the big flowers, I do like a background technique. And I have so much fun with this. Like, anytime anybody orders one, I'm like, yes, I get to do this again, because it's so much fun. So I'll just take like a regular canvas, and usually I take the paint straight from the tube, and I just squirt it straight onto the canvas.
Right. So you do different colors.
Yeah, I'll do different colors. Like, I'll do like whatever they order. So they can order, whatever colors they want. And so I'll squirt, like this one wanted more of a cool color design. And so I started squirting like lime greens, darker greens, some blues, and then some reds in here. And I'll just take different brushes. I'll grab like a bunch of big brushes, and I just kind of smear them on there however I'm feeling. Like, sometimes, like you can see in the back, it's, really diagonal. Sometimes it's more horizontal. Honestly, it's just
brushing
like
them back and forth.
Yes, however I feel. And it'll kind of start blending it. But during this process, I use different brushes because I want that real pure, bright color. I don't want it to get too muddy. And then I'll let that dry. And then my favorite part of all of it, I'll come in with, I found this at Michael's, like, at you can tell it's been well used.
Well used and loved.
I found this at Michael's, and it's like it's kind of like a plastic. Like a lot of times, if you go to Michael's to the sale section, they'll have this random stuff, and they had this random thing. I had 2 of these, and I lost one, and I'm really, really sad because it's one of my favorite tools. But I'll use it, and I don't use it as like I don't really paint it. Basically, what I'll do is I'll dip it into the paint, and then I'll just almost like I stamp it, and then I'll just push it down, and then pull it up. And what happens is if you leave all of this wet while you're doing it, you'll start pulling up some of the colors. Like, I don't know if you can see that some of the different colors.
Yeah, underneath.
Yeah, and it'll pull up like this one right here.
Yeah, that's a fun tip. So you're using it as like a stamp.
Yes, I use it as a stamp instead of more like a stencil. So I'll push and pull, and then it pulls those colors around. And then my next favorite thing is bubble wrap. So I'll take bubble wrap from Walmart or whatever, and then I'll take some paint, and I just pick some colors that I like. And then what I'll do is I'll stamp it into where it's kind of like it has some of both.
Right.
And then all I do is just find areas and pull it, and then start adding it on top. And so what happens is, not only do you have the layers of all the bright colors, but then you have the layers of the stamping, and then I'll take ink, like you can see these black spots, and I just grab my huge ink bottle and I just drip it everywhere. And then I'll add this stuff on here. So then that way, before I even get to my Day of the Dead stuff, I have had a blast. Like, I should be paying them to create these because I'm doing all kinds of fun stuff.
I love backgrounds like that. And that's a really fun idea. Like, I like how you were saying you just put the paint on, you brush it back and forth, blend it, and then you go over it. You do the stamping or the bubble wrap. And people can make cards out of those and put little inspirational messages to themselves. If they're painters, they can do it in the background of their painting. But there's so many ways they can play with that, you know. And that's just fun. Like, background painting is just fun. Like, it's playful.
And it doesn't matter if you make mistakes. Because, I mean, oh my gosh, any mistake I make, I'll just cover with something else, or I'll put another layer of paint. And I just recently started teaching my painting events how to do some of the bubble wrap and the stenciling. Usually in a 2.5-hour painting event, there's not enough time to do a lot of that. So I'm trying to kind of start incorporating that and change some of the way I'm teaching it so that they have some of that flexibility, because it's just too much fun not to spread the word about.
Not to spread the word, I know. And I think background painting is like everybody's favorite because there's no pressure. You know what I mean? You can cover it up. You know, there's nothing to lose, you know.
Right.
And so the bubble wrap, stamping. I love the brush things. I actually saw that on Bob Ross the other day.
Really?
I was like, I love that. He created water by doing a little bit what you're doing, where he was taking a brush and going back and forth. So I'll have to play with that some. So that was wonderful. And before we go and wrap up, Heidi, I know you have a wonderful free gift for everybody. So do you want to share the free gift?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So I have been teaching, I have a mentorship program where I teach people step by step how to throw artsy parties to make fast cash. And so what I've put together is a free webinar. And it's about an hour long, and it'll tell you kind of how to throw an artsy party. It'll walk you step by step through how to do it. And then it just kind of gives you more details and more information about how I got started. And it's really good, especially for the person who loves art, you know, but they need that extra cash coming in, and they don't want to go take out $100,000 to open up their own chain of, you know, a party. Where I teach it where you go out to the customer, you go to homes, you go to churches, to private events, things like that, to where you never have a building and all of that cost, you know, kind of on your shoulders. So it's a really good webinar, and it's totally free. You can, you know, sign on to I'll give you the link, Bebe, and they can just click on it, and it'll send you straight to my Vimeo, which has the whole webinar on there. And then if you have any questions about the mentorship program, we're starting a new one, I believe August 1st. So if you're interested in that, it'll start in August.
Yay! And I love the idea of the painting parties, because I do feel what's really missing for some people is human contact and actually getting together and gathering and having fun and playing and painting, and, you know, so I love that idea. So you can click the link, find out more about how to host your own painting party. And this is something you could do easily with friends in the area, like she said, at your church or at home or anything like that. And Heidi's website is in her bio, so you can click on there and find out more about her. And that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us. All right. Take care, and we'll see you with our next interview. Bye-bye. Thanks, Heidi.
Bye, guys. Thank you.